Hi everybody, in this video, let's look at your Form 5 Model Math Chapter 7, Measure of Dispersion for Group Data. So what's a group data? Let's look at this example. This is ungrouped data. You know the exact value of every single data. This ungrouped data, which you learned before. If you write this data, you categorize them into a few different groups, different class interval, like this, then it becomes a group data. If you just looking at this frequency table, you know that there are two persons, their body masses are from 30 to 35, but we don't know the exact body masses. For the second class interval, for example, we know that there are 5 persons, their body masses are from 36 to 41 kilogram, but we don't know exactly what their body masses is. For this one, this is different. This is ungrouped data. We know the exact value of every single data. So this is ungrouped data, which you learned before. This is group data. In this chapter, we are focusing on this type of data. Before we learn how to draw a histogram and also a frequency polygon, let's learn some basic terms first that we need to understand in this chapter. Okay, let's look at this example. Calculate the size of the class interval given in the following table. So when we group the data into few class interval, make sure that the size of every class interval is the same. Now, to determine the size of the class interval, you need to be more careful. For this question, the question is asking you what's the size of the class interval. If you take 44 minus 40, you get 4. This is actually not correct. The size of the class interval here is actually 5. So try to use your finger to calculate 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. 5. Okay, so how to determine the size of the class interval? We can take upper boundary minus lower boundary, which I'm going to share with you how do we get the upper boundary and lower boundary. Besides using this method, upper boundary minus lower boundary, we also can use another way to help us to get the size of the class interval. First is by using your fingers. Another way is you take 49, not subtracting 45, but subtract 44. You find the difference between the upper limit of this class interval with the upper limit of the previous class interval. So this one we call it class interval. Here I have 3 class interval here, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so if you take 49 minus 44, you will get 5, which is the size of the class interval. If you don't want to do this way, you can take 45 minus 40. You also get the same thing. Okay, be careful. Don't take 44 minus 40 or 49 minus 45 and you say that the size of the class interval is 4. It's actually not correct. So the size here should be 5 kilogram. Make sure the size of every class interval is the same. Now, let's look at this example. Here we are going to learn what is lower limit, upper limit, lower boundary, upper boundary, how to calculate the midpoint for every class interval, and also what is cumulative frequency. The data spreads above show the daily wages in Ringgit Malaysia of 30 employees of a certain company. Determine the suitable class interval for the data if 7 class intervals are required. So we want to group it into 7 different classes. Hence, complete the following table. So first, I need to determine the size of the class interval that I need to use. So what I'm going to do here, I look at the largest value. Largest value of the data should be 55. And I look for the smallest value. Here will be 21. So what I'm going to do next, I take 55 minus 21 divided by 7. Why do I need to divide it by 7? Because the question is asking us to break it into 7 class interval. Okay. 55 minus 21 then divided by 7, you will get 4 point something. Okay, 4 point, let me just round off it to 4, 2 decimal places, 4.86. Okay, the size of the class interval that I'm going to use here will be 5. Okay, since the smallest value is 21, I'm going to start with 21. Okay, try to think before I tell you. What is the number that should I write here so that the size of the class interval is 5? Can I take 21 plus 5 become 26? Try to use your finger to calculate. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Now the size become 6. But we want to use the size, the class interval with size of 5. Therefore, we know that this is not correct. We need to add 4. 21 plus 4, you will get 25. Try to use your finger to calculate again. Is this correct? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So now the size of the class interval here is 5. It's correct. So here is until 25. So the next will be 26. Another same thing, plus 4. You will get 30. And here will be 31. Plus 4, you get 35. Okay, so another way to fill in all the class interval here is some students like to do this way. 25 plus 5, 30, 30 plus 5, 35, 35 plus 5, you get 40, plus 5, 45, then become 50, plus another 5, you become 55. Okay, so this is all the upper limit, this upper limit of the class interval. Now let's go to the lower limit. 31 plus 5, 36, 36 plus 5, 41, 46, and 51. Okay, this is another way to help us to determine the the lower limit and the upper limit for each class interval. Here, this all we call it class interval. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 class interval. Now, what is the lower limit? Lower limit means that the lowest value of the data which can categorize in this class interval. So when you look at the range given here, you know it's 21, right? 21. So the upper limit is the maximum value of the data which we can categorize them into this group. So it will be 25. So for the upper limit and lower limit, we don't have to calculate, we just get it directly from the class interval here. Okay, these are all the lower limit and upper limit for each class interval. Okay, now let's learn how do we get lower boundary and upper boundary. Let me use the second class interval to explain to you first. Now, to get the lower boundary, we need to take 25 plus 26. It means the upper limit of the previous class plus the lower limit of this class interval and then divided by 2. We want to find the boundary. So 25 plus 26 divided by 2. You will get 25.5. So the lower boundary of this class interval will be 25.5. So how about upper boundary? We need to take the upper limit of this class interval plus the lower limit of the next class interval and then divided by 2. Let me show here. So if I want to determine the upper boundary of this class interval, then it will be 30 plus 31 and then divided by 2. You will get 30.5. Still remember what I told just now. To calculate or to determine the size of the class interval, we can use upper boundary minus lower boundary, right? Majority of the books will teach this way, upper boundary minus lower boundary. So you take 30.5 minus 25.5, you will get 5. The size of the class interval here is 5. So let's say some students don't want to use this way. You can just take 30 minus 25 or 26 minus 21 and so on. Okay. Now, once you have determined the lower limit and sorry, not the lower limit, the lower boundary and the upper boundary of this class interval, so the rest will be easy. So this is 30.5. This is 35.5. This is 35.5. You will notice that the upper limit, the upper boundary of this class interval is actually the lower boundary of the next class interval. So this is 40.5, or you can think this way, 25.5 plus 5 plus 5 and so on. Okay, this is 40.5. This is 45.5. This is 45.5. You see, always the same here. And this is 50.5. 50.5 here, and the last one is try to think. Now, maybe some student having some problem here. This is 55, so we don't have the next class interval. So is that 0? We take 55 plus 0 divided by 2. No, it's not like this. So you have to imagine, if you want to add one more class interval, what will it be? It will be 56, right? To 60. Okay, 55 plus 5 for 51 plus 5. So now I try to think. I think now it should be no problem how to get the upper boundary. Take 55 plus 56 divided by 2, which will be 55.5. Okay, this is a way to determine the lower boundary and upper boundary. Now, let's go back to the first class interval. Let me just keep this one. We have the same problem here. For upper boundary, no problem. We just take 25 plus 26 divided by 2. You will get 25.5, right? But how do we get the lower boundary? We don't have another class interval before this class interval. So you need to think, if there is a class interval before this class interval, what will it be? So it will be 16 to 20, right? 16 plus 5, you get 21. 20 plus 5, you get 25. Or you can go backward, right? 25 minus 5, 21 minus 5. Okay, now I think it should be no problem. How do we determine the lower boundary? We take 20 plus 21 divided by 2, right? Which will be 20.5. Or you can just think this way, this minus 5, this minus 5. There are many ways to help us to get the lower boundary and upper boundary of each class interval. Okay, now we know what's class interval, what's lower limit, upper limit, lower boundary, and upper boundary. Next, let's learn about midpoint. How do we determine the midpoint of every class interval? Same thing, we actually have various methods to get the midpoint of a class interval. Now, majority of the students will use this way. 21 plus 25, 21 plus 25, which will give you 46. Okay, let me write over here. Let's say I want to find the midpoint for the first class interval. Midpoint. It will be 21 plus 25 divided by 2. So this is 46 divided by 2, you will get 23, right? Okay, this is the first method. So some students don't want to do this way. You can take 20.5 plus 25.5 and then divided by 2. You get the same thing, 23. But normally, we will prefer using this because it's easy, right? Here, 21 plus 25 compared with 20.5 plus 25.5, right? This is easier. So it's up to you. You can take lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2, or lower boundary plus upper boundary divided by 2. But you actually don't have to calculate every single one. For example, if you want to determine the midpoint of the second class interval, do you need to do it again? Like for example, 26 plus 30 divided by 2, then you get 28. You don't have to redo it again and again over here. So you can think this way. Since we know the size of the class interval here is 5, right? So you just take 23 plus 5, 28. 28 plus 5, 33, and so on. Okay, but when you are using this method, you need to be more careful because you are keep on adding it. If there is a mistake in the middle, then all the answer underneath will be incorrect. Okay, so another way is this. So as I told you just now, there are many ways to get the midpoint of a class interval. Another way is to observe the number, this number, and this number. What do you notice here? You notice that 21 plus 2, right? 26 plus 2, right? And once we see the trend, we can do the same thing for the rest. 36 plus 2, 38. 41 plus 2, 43. 46 plus 2, 48. And 51 plus 2, 53. Okay, for our safety, because we are adding this way, we worry that we will make mistake. So for the last class interval, let me calculate again. 51 plus 55, then divided by 2, okay, 53, correct. Okay, so this is a way how do we get the midpoint of every class interval. So sometimes in the exam, we don't see this column which is tally. It will just ask you to fill out the frequency. So I will suggest you to use this column to help you to get the frequency. Even though there is no column for tally, I would suggest you to do the tally beside each class interval so that it's not that easy to make mistake. Some students like to do it this way. For example, let me show you the first method. A lot of students like to do it this way. It is a faster way, but once you make mistake, it's hard for you to know which part you make mistake. So it take a long time to recalculate again. Okay, this the method is like this. So they will look at this class interval 21 until 25, then they start to searching 21 until 25. Okay, like for example 1, okay, and then 2, and so on. But once you make mistake, I think using this method is easier for to make mistake. So it's totally up to you. If you are okay with this method, it's fine for you to use it. Personally, I would suggest students to do it this way. It takes a longer time, but normally it is after one time you calculate it, you will get correct answer. Okay, this way it's like this. When you look at 32, you cut 32 and then go to search for the class interval. The suitable class interval in this 32, right? In this class interval, so I'm going to put 1 here. Okay, put a mark here. And 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. So later on, easier for you to calculate. If you do it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you need to take time again to calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How about if I write this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Once you look at it, you know that that's 7, right? Okay. And then cut 21 and look for the suitable class interval will be here. Make a mark over here. 45, look for the suitable class interval, this. Make a mark over here, and so on. Now you can try to pause the video and try to calculate. Hopefully you get all the frequency correctly. Okay, these are the frequency for each class interval 2, 5, 4, 6, 7, 3, and 3. Hopefully you do it. Hopefully you did it correctly. Okay, next let's learn what is a cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency means that we accumulate the frequency altogether. So for example, this is 2, right? Just write 2. For the first class interval, the cumulative frequency, we just copy it. So the second class interval, the cumulative frequency will be 2 plus 5. We accumulate all the frequency together. And then this we have to be more careful. 7 plus 4, not 2 plus 7 plus 4 is not correct. Okay, the 7 is included to here. So 7 plus 4, 11, 11 plus 6, you will get 17, 17 plus 7, 24, plus 3, 27, plus 3, you get 30. Always make sure that the last number here is the total frequency. Okay, so now you learn about lower limit, lower boundary, upper boundary, how to get the midpoint, and how to get the cumulative frequency. Okay, try to think. Sometime the question will give you cumulative frequency, but you need to determine the frequency yourself. So how do we do it this way? What this what did we do just now is we use a frequency to help us to get the cumulative frequency. So how about we want to use cumulative frequency to get back frequency? How to get the answer? We move this aside. Oh. Okay, you can think this way. Now ignore about this one. Just focus on this one. We want to use this to calculate back this one. So do the first one, you just need to copy, and then you take 7 minus 2. Because 7 is the frequency for this and this, right? We know this is 2, so here will be 7 minus 2, which is 5. Okay, and how to get the frequency for the third class interval? 11 minus 7. 11 minus 11. Oh, sorry, not 11. 17, sorry. 17 minus 11, you get 6. 24 minus 17, you get 7. 27 minus 24, you get 3. And the last one, 30 minus 27, you will get 3. So this is a way how do we get the frequency from the cumulative frequency. Okay, and that's all for this video. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.